how sweet it is to be loved by you. What is up, nerds? It's me, your buddy pal, HeyArcher. Welcome back to HeyArcher Live on the Nerd affiliated channel. It's been a week. I'm sorry, it's been a week. Thanksgiving came, it went. I was gonna try to do a live stream that Tuesday, and I was like, you know what? Let me see if I can embrace this whole like family thing, personal life, socializing in real life, I guess thing. So we didn't do that, but we are back. We are back with another fun, exciting episode. We got the legendary, the hardest working man on YouTube, Aaron Waller, in the house. So we are in for a real good time with him. Hawkeye is up and rolling. It is sorry, my chat. Oh, okay, there we go. Hawkeye is rolling, so I definitely want to talk to Aaron about that. We will do you all a solid, right? We'll do you a solid. We'll keep it spoiler free. So no spoilers on Hawkeye, but we're definitely going to talk about Hawkeye. I don't know why I'm not seeing the chat on my actual screen. There it is. There it is. It's back. So yeah, we'll talk about that. See what else is going on with Aaron. Talk about upcoming Marvel stuff. You know, there's all sorts of funness happening. I also don't think that he and I talked about Superman and Lois. So I want to see if there's something else that maybe he's watching that I have not seen yet. So take care of all of that for sure. As always, make sure to hit a thumbs up, subscribe down below if you've not done so. If you're over on Facebook, comment. We'll see your comments here too. If you're on Twitch, comment. We'll see it here. If you've got a YouTube channel, you got a podcast, you got a live stream, you got a blog, you got a OnlyFans, plug it in the comments. Plug your shit. No pun intended on that one. I had to do it though. Anyway. I mean, is there any other way to roll a guess in than after a poop joke? Aaron Waller in the house. Good to see you, brother. How you doing?
How are you? Hello, everybody. Good. I'm sorry I don't have an OnlyFans to plug, just the normal, good old-fashioned stuff.
Yeah.
But hi, everybody. Welcome to Archer Stream. Feels like I was just here, but at the same time, it was a week ago with that Thanksgiving skip. Was I here the week before that?
I think it was 2 before that. Paxmas.
I don't remember.
Paxmas
that's
out.
right. Pax was here. That's right. Okay. Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it feels like you're here because we all communicate regularly.
Yeah.
And we're in each other's.
I'm here every
streams.
week, but now I'm like on the screen. So it's
exactly. Well, it's good to see you. And of course, to say hi to everybody in the chat. Scooby Life in the house. Sal in the house. Anthony in the house. Yes, please. He only saw Hawkeye episode 1 and 2. He's slacking. Absolutely slacking.
It's okay. If you want to join me to watch it, I mean, you can come hang out with me on Wednesdays at 9 Eastern. I live stream Watch Party it. If you want to hang out with me and do it, but if you don't, you can always catch it on the replay. If you want a friend to join you while you're watching it, so
that's true. Actually, so that's how I watched it this week. We were talking before the show started, and I apologize for no music, everybody. For some reason, my iPad is not turning on, so that's its own problem. But we were talking before the show started. And what I've been doing, because Hawkeye comes out Wednesday mornings, is I watch it as I get ready for work, and then I listen to the live stream later on in the day. That way nothing gets spoiled while I'm driving. But before we talk about all of that, why don't you, of course, as always, and as I am always happy to do, this is your 5 minutes. Aaron Waller.
I get 5 minutes. Wow.
Shit. You got 10 minutes if you want 10 minutes on it.
No, I don't need 10 minutes.
Actually, hang on. Let me bring you back in there.
So we have my own personal channel right here, Aaron Waller. We're currently 10 away from 400, which is way off of where I put my goal at the beginning of the year, but that doesn't matter. We're still rolling, which is nice.
Still rolling.
I haven't done anything lately on there. I'm kind of in a holding pattern very briefly, but if for more content from me, I am doing a ton of videos on the Nerdgenic channel, which is where my live stream of Hawkeye is, the watch party. That's Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern. I live stream every single episode, or not show the episode, but react watch party, whatever you want to call it. That's super fun. So that just happened last night. And then I have other random videos all the time. My weekly history of videos, which come out on Saturdays. Actually, I'm kind of taking a break from my channel to make all this content. So it's kind of I'm not making content, but I am making content. So it's kind of a juggling act. No. You have 2 channels.
Yeah, it is wild how that kind of takes over, where you're like, I have the main intention of what I'm trying to do, and then all these other things keep happening, and you're like, oh wait, what happened to the other stuff? So
I've just started having that struggle of, I have this idea, but I don't know if I want to put it here or if I want to put it here. Is it more like a personal thing? Is it more of a just something related to energetic and like niche stuff? It's kind of a back and forth. So
yeah. No,
struggle's real.
the struggle is real for the content creator.
Hey, we got Sleeping in the chat. What's up?
Good to see you, brother. There he is. So yes, Anthony has his own podcast, the Rambling with Anthony show, which it already existed, but now it even exists without me in it. So he definitely wants you to jump in on that. We've talked about that behind the scenes.
It is a lot of fun. I've watched all the episodes so far of Rambling with Anthony, the one with him and Sal, where they just talked about Star Wars. I think there's only been 2. And then with you also trying to convince you about Man of Steel. There were some good nuggets in there.
All right, let's talk about that.
There's some nuggets.
Let's start off on that. Because you're the only other person I know that has enjoyed Man of Steel. And just so everybody knows where the bar is going to be set here on Man of Steel, I'm counting anybody who has watched it more than once as you are labeled somebody who enjoys it. Because I've tried. I tried after we did the show the other day. Couldn't do it. So just to
even
update,
that recently?
So please inform the group. What are your thoughts on Man of Steel?
I think it's really good. I think it does have its problems. I think Henry Cavill was a little bit too big, and it kind of makes it weird with like, because he's so big, he looks kind of more like short, if that makes sense. Like there's a scene where I think it's after he saves like the oil rig and then just like goes to like the shoreline, is like shirtless and like grabs a shirt off of like a clothesline or something like that.
Yeah.
That he looks super weird because he's so big. And like, I get it in the sense of like when they're walking him down the hallway and he's like handcuffed, but he almost can't keep his wrists together with how big he is. It just looks weird. But for the most part, I enjoy it. I do agree with you, though, that the whole Krypton thing that's like 30 minutes could probably be cut. I really could care less about that. We already know. And most of us aren't like, oh, I wonder how all those people died on Krypton.
Yeah.
I could care less. I'd rather just move on to Superman and Lois storyline. I know you had mentioned Superman and Lois. I haven't seen it. I've heard good things about it. But I did kind of comment on your video. I know there's a lot of haters out there for the Superman Returns movie.
Yes.
I don't mind that movie so much as a follow-up to the Christopher Reeves movies. That one obviously also still has its problems, but it kind of fits what I think a modern version of almost going back to even like a 1960s Batman would look like today-ish, if that makes any sense.
It does.
Very cartoonish, but also kind of dark, what people like, I guess. So I don't mind that one. But for Man of Steel, I don't mind it. I think it's a good start for a lot of the Superman stuff that they were going to do later. I don't know who I would still... I still think Christopher Reeves is my Superman, if I were to like look at them. But I think Henry Cavill makes a good, strong case for Superman. It just depends, I guess, the look, or if he even gets a chance to talk like in Batman vs. Superman, where he barely got to say anything.
Right.
So I guess it really just how much you're going to let him shine.
Yeah. I have my Superman, which normally I would agree is Christopher Reeve, but kind of as time has gone on, Tim Daly is kind of my Superman. Like I think not only do I think Wings, but I just think, of Tim Daly when I think Superman. And it's the same argument I think that we had when we were talking. Well, I guess not argument, but debate, where it's like who's your Batman? Does Kevin
Yeah.
Conroy count because it's animated
Yeah.
versus a live action type thing?
Sure.
But anytime I think of, and don't get me wrong, I absolutely love the original Superman movie, Superman 2. Like those are timeless.
Hmm.
Nobody's allowed to hate them on this platform. It's just not a thing. But
I
for,
think it's kind of hard to hate them.
it is because they're so good. They're so
Yeah.
innocent. They're simple. And, even the thing I brought up when I was talking to the other guys was, the chemistry between Lois and Superman in those movies with Christopher Reeve and I'm forgetting her name now, but it made sense. It just absolutely made sense.
And I think that's probably part of the reason why the Snyderverse is kind of hard for me, especially Superman, is I feel like Lois is Lois, but not really. I don't know if it's an Amy Adams issue. I don't know if it's just I don't see her in that role type of thing. If she just doesn't feel like she fits it. I like some of her like ambition and drive, the way she like presents herself as Lois. I like that.
Right.
But like everything else about her, I'm not that much of a fan of. So whenever she's on, I kind of just blank it out, or not blank it out, but I just kind of takes me out of the movie a little bit more.
It does. 100% does. And I just think I think with Snyder, there's just always too much. Like he's always trying to do too much at one time.
True.
Like all the spectacle of everything, the Krypton part, like proving he can make a Krypton. Like it's just unnecessary. But that's where Superman and Lois, like it's very simple. And that has made the list. Stargirl is currently on that list. Superman and Lois is on the list. And I'm only, I think, 6-ish episodes in.
Is it a full season that's out already? Or
Yeah.
is it okay?
Yeah. And it's good. I mean, I'm 6 in. I think Sal just finished the season. Anthony had long finished the season. Solid. Gets you to care, but also like it hits little. Like I don't want to spoil anything, but there's little things about Superman that like over the years, like as a fan, you kind of observe, and then this show kind of like drills it home, and you're like, oh, like he is that powerful. I was equating it to Omni-Man in Invincible. Like if anybody has not seen Invincible, you should watch that too.
Yeah, definitely should.
But there's those moments where like Omni-Man reminds you, like, by the way, just so you know, strongest guy on the planet.
And about Superman and Lois, I think it's Taylor something. I can't remember what the actor's name is. When I think about him, I don't see him as Superman, but when you see him like in the suit, you can be like, okay, like I can actually believe that this guy might be a Superman. I mean, it's kind of I think you kind of made the argument in that video also about like a Dean Cain type.
Yeah.
Like when you think about Dean Cain or this guy, I don't think Superman, but like once you put him in the suit, you're like, okay. But like the one with the cape coming over, I don't like that. Like that Supergirl look. But there's another one, I think, where it's like a darker scene. Yeah, like that. Like it's a little bit more on the collar. It looks way better.
Yeah.
At least for my own personal opinion. I was never a fan of the coming all the way over the shoulder look. And it just looks weird. Plus, like the wide collar. I don't know. I would rather go with, I think it's New 52 when they had like the collar. Okay.
Actually, in our group chat,
more along that line.
We're talking about that actually in our group chat today, where I think Sal was, I mean, they're in the chat, they can speak for themselves, but I think Sal was saying he preferred the collar as well to his look.
It doesn't have to be massive. It's just a little one. I mean, even the little collar for the upcoming Batman movie, I don't mind it. I think it kind of makes a little bit more sense other than just like a full straight rubber cowl. Mm-hmm. But I'm down for just a little collar. Doesn't hurt.
Yeah. So I don't remember if we talked about it, but I'm assuming you are pumped for the Batman. Like that's.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I'm cautiously optimistic, as I am with most things.
True.
I don't know why. There's just something about it. I don't know. The thing that has me most worried is basically anything surrounding the relationship of him and Selena. And like that whole like swooping shot with like the sunset, and they're Great like shot. On the. It looks cool. I'm 100% gonna give him that. Whatever cinematographer put that together. But
Mm,
I don't know, it just kind of concerns me. Something about it just not sitting right. But I'm still staying cautiously optimistic that it's gonna be great, and we'll just ride that until we finally get to see the movie.
yeah, that shot with him and Selena. Yeah, that is one. And something that Anthony had pointed out was even those scenes where like people look at him and they're like afraid or they're like
Hmm.
scared, they hesitate when they see him. Um, they got me pumped for it.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah. Um, so before we go into Hawkeye, and again, thank you everybody for being here. If you've not done so, drop a like. Also, head over to Aaron Waller YT on YouTube. Drop him a subscribe to Nerdgenic, and then come on back. But
Yes.
we are going to roll into our first round of either. And as a reminder, in the game of either, we have choice blue, we have red. You choose which one suits you. So, and probably the hardest question we have
Oh
ever
no.
had on this show. Are you
I'm
ready?
bracing. I'm bracing.
Here
Go
we
for
go.
it.
In the first round of either, we have: are you fighting a shark with bear arms or fighting a bear with shark arms?
I feel like it makes more sense to fight a shark with bare arms. Because like they have like the giant paws, they have the claws, I guess is the best way to put it. I almost said
Mm-hmm.
talons. Um, and like what's like the shark just kind of has a flap, right? Like
Yeah.
it's a fin. Like I mean, it's gonna be a slap, but I don't know if that's gonna do much damage in a bear other than agitate it. So I'm gonna go. I think this one's not that hard. I'm gonna go with blue.
So here's why I think it's slightly difficult.
Okay.
And Anthony's in the comments defending DC at the moment. Um, it doesn't mention if you're allowed to bite or not. So like,
Okay.
I'm
Fair.
thinking I would take the I would be red, right? And
Mm-hmm.
understand I'm gonna get a couple hits. I'm gonna absorb some damage from
Mm-hmm.
this bear. But if I'm a great white and I can get that one bite on that bear, I think it's a wrap.
True, but at the same time, I think if you have the advantage of bare arms, you can kind of do like the one arm, like where you like hold them at a distance and like
Yeah.
they just keep swinging and like
Yeah.
they can't quite hit you. I feel like it would be that case. You can be more at a distance and like use even if it's smaller slashes, I guess.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know how tough shark skin is. I guess is it the same as like a dolphin or another? I don't know. I again put way too much thought into this. That it's a simple question.
But these are why we're here.
Are
This
we
is
taking
why.
into account environments? Are we in the ocean? Are we on land? Because if you're on land, one versus one, if you're in a river, that's probably as close as it's going to get to a fair fight, right?
That's yeah. That could yeah
But it'd have to be a
yeah.
deep river. I don't
Happy
know.
yeah. Or a lake. Have to be talk about some
or a
real
lake.
stoner conversations going on here.
We keep it classy here at
We
Nerd
do.
Affiliated.
We do. Butt jokes, only fan jokes, and then shark versus bear conversation.
Yep.
So you're going blue.
I think I'm gonna stay blue on this one.
Okay. Let's see what we got. You got that
That's a,
one.
that's pretty tight, but I think a lot of people were on me on that same wavelength with me uh,
Hmm.
for slashing or like having the um, wingspan advantage, I guess,
Yep. Yep.
if you want to call it that.
So I was thinking when you were asking the question about like what arena, well, sorry, should they fight in?
Hmm.
I was like, oh, put them in the Shang-Chi cage and have them just fight it out. Um, I don't remember because there was such a big gap
Hmm.
between and everybody in the comments. If I forget, remind me about Hawkeye. We'll get to it. I just keep thinking of new things. There was a big jump between when Shang-Chi came out, or
Hmm.
sorry, Shang-Chi came out in theatrical versus when it
Hmm.
came out at home release. And
Yep.
in that window, I can't remember if you reviewed that movie or not. I did
I did
not.
not. I did
Oh,
not.
neither
I
of
did
us
not.
did.
No, I did not see it until it was on Disney Plus. I think it came out Disney Plus Day. I think it was like November 12th.
Yep.
I must have seen it few days later because I didn't have time. I wanted to watch it sooner,
Yeah, yeah.
but I just didn't have time. So I ended up watching it. It just wasn't like a must see.
All right, I
You
mean,
want to talk about Shang-Chi?
do you well, unless you don't want
I'm
to.
happy to. No, I'm happy to.
Okay, because I still want to. I'm still gonna do a review at some point. Like that's still gonna
Okay.
happen.
I'm debating if I want to do one, to be honest. But
So let's that. I think
we can
we're
go
on the
with it.
same page here. I think we're on the same page here. So spoiler alert. I'll say for Shang-Chi, anybody who's not watched it yet, as I say that, I don't think there's much to spoil anyway, but
no.
I'll say it anyway, just in case. But what were your overall? We'll go back. We'll go back when the first trailer came out.
Okay.
It was on the show here. We were all hyped for it. It looked dope. You're an hour into Shang-Chi. What are you thinking on the movie?
I think that it's good. It's got some good stuff in it. Like I liked some of the story progression, things that were happening, but there were very early on. I love the bus fight when they're actually fighting, but then it just goes off the rails to a point where it's like, what am I watching right now? Like this is just supposed to be a dude that can fight. He doesn't even have the 10 rings yet, but something kind of more fantastic happens, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Which was a little bit of a tough pill to swallow that early on. But through the first hour, I stuck through that, and for the most part, I would say that I liked it.
An hour in, so I agree. The bus scene happened, and I was like, all right, this is cool. Like he's just doing martial arts. I start to fall asleep. It was. Don't get me wrong. It was a long day at work. I was at the lady's house. We're watching it. I started to fall asleep. I come back to watching it some more. I'm liking the backstory of the him training as a kid and all that stuff.
I love all that stuff.
But then at like the hour mark, I was like, okay, I feel like this movie should be wrapping it up. It's been about 2 hours now, but it had only been an hour. And I was like, this movie is just going to keep on going. All right.
It does do that. And I remember thinking even one fight that I liked within that first hour was the mom versus dad.
Yeah.
I liked that fight a lot. That was a really well done fight. And then obviously the bus fight. I think the bus fight happened after that, if I remember correctly.
No, the bus fight was first because he's telling her, I think, the story about the parents meeting.
Oh, okay. Whatever order of operations that happens. I did like that fight in the first hour.
Yeah.
Second half was a little bit of a different story.
Yeah. There was.
Do we want to go into that, or do we still want to talk about the first half?
No. We're good. Well, I mean,
okay,
because to Sal's point, the scaffolding fight was the better fight. Like the second I hit play, I was like, I just want to get to that part because I know I'm gonna like it. And sure enough, the scaffolding fight sequence, it was dope. It was great.
For sure.
My issue with the movie, I think, as a whole, was and I just want to comment real quick. So, Joel was saying, great movie, Marvel's amazing. I think my issue with the movie is it's as Marvel as it gets. There was not a single piece of that movie that I was like, didn't see that coming. Oh, that's a surprise. Oh, it just, the trope we've talked about where they either kill a villain or it turns out they're a good guy. That's the route they took. They were like, we're going to kind of make it a little ambiguous. Like they just can't have a bad guy just be a bad guy anymore. Like there's always got to be something. And as it progressed, I was like, there's nothing happening now that I'm like, I've not seen somewhere. Like it just, to me, it was
a lot of it was, honestly, I remember watching it and thinking, this scene is exactly from this movie.
Yes.
So the scaffolding fight was, to me, Rush Hour. And then
that's what it was. I was trying to think I was like, I've seen this somewhere before. That's
to
what
me,
it was.
It was Rush Hour. And I think there was another. No, I think Rush Hour did do a bamboo scaffolding something in
Rush Hour 2.
First one.
It was
the second one?
Isn't it when they go to China that happens?
You might be right on that one.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
it's been
think
a
you might
long
be right.
time. Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Um, but it was straight out of Rush Hour, and then there was another like the mom and dad fight was Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Right.
Um, Later in the movie, I could see some semblance of other influences. I would even say like almost like Dragon Ball Z
Very much Dragon Ball Z.
level.
Yeah.
There was something else, but I can't remember what it was now. But there were in influences, I guess, left and right in that movie.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there was no way I didn't see it and think I've seen this from this movie. They almost exactly copied this from this movie.
Yeah.
It was like seeing a mashup of all of them
Yeah.
together.
Fan film. A
Yeah,
fan film
pretty
of all
much.
of it. And that was it. Like when we approached that final fight, I was like, first of all, it's really only like 20 people versus 20 people. Like it's really not that big. Like the army isn't like an army, but
Yeah, that's true.
they still tried to make it seem like people were fighting over there. I'm like, no, we legit saw them square off. It was like maybe 15 or 20 versus 15 on 20.
Yeah.
And I was like, the rings, I was like, first, I don't know what the powers of the rings are. It just does, they do things.
Yeah.
But then when him and the son were fighting, I was like, it's so Dragon Ball Z, and I should want this, but I really want to see martial arts. Like I really wanted that final fight scene to be like
The
martial arts.
once they started using the rings in like more of a fight style, like they actually incorporated it rather than just like the dad using it as like an extra force punch
Yeah.
type of thing.
Yeah.
It basically turned into back and forth Kamehameha waves.
Yes.
And like just like the way that they kind of like did the wind up and then kind of
Yeah.
like even when the rings like come together to like push and like they kind of like interlock to like either block or hit or whatever.
Yeah.
It was basically the personification of how are you going to shoot an energy beam.
Right.
And even with like the dragon at the end and the giant door that opens to Otherworld or whatever it's called,
Yeah.
like that, even I don't know an exact reference for that in Dragon Ball Z, but it felt very Dragon Ball Z.
Well, I mean, it was Power Rangers. It was all right. We need, make my monster grow, two monsters fight while we,
Yeah,
that's what that was.
Very
Like
true.
it just kept, every time we turned around, I was like, I just want to see them. I just want to see him fight. Like, and that's, a spoiler alert to Hawkeye. What I like about Hawkeye is we're back to the fist to face. Like that's what I expected out of Shang-Chi. And maybe the problem is I go into Marvel movies expecting things, but I was like, I didn't know what the rings did. Like then he's grabbing the rings, like they are tracked to him and they go around his arms and then he takes them back. And then I was like, what are you even like explain this to me. Like what is even happening
I
here?
felt like if they would have put it more in the context of the rings could potentially have an alliance to someone.
Right.
And I know this is giving it more of a something that you've been working on, which was your Harry Potter movies. Kind of like
The
with
bloodline.
kind of like the
Yeah.
wand thing where like, oh, it kind of has a master in this sense.
Yes.
But if you can overpower them to some degree, then the power maybe transfers to you. Okay. That was never explained. It kind of happens that way, but they
Right.
never say those words. Which I think that the movie would have really benefited from that. But the last, I want to say, from the time they do the car maze
Mm,
to basically the end,
yeah.
it just felt like a CG fest where I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
And especially the final fight of the dragon versus the, I don't even remember what the other thing was, like a flying something.
Yeah. I don't remember.
It was, I felt like I didn't know what I was looking at. And even like I felt like they started copying a little bit of God of War when he was like running up the dragon type of thing.
Yeah.
But I had no idea what I was looking at. I didn't know who was fighting. I didn't know what hit was happening because it was just a CG. Things are happening left and right, and you just kind of had to accept it.
Yeah.
But I do have to give it's a random thing. I have to give Disney credit because it did benefit from their added feature that they did where they made them IMAX level. So it gets a little bit bigger on the
Mm.
screen. You get to see a little bit more. I felt like it definitely benefited from that, but that end stuff still it doesn't make up for it. It was just I found it almost unwatchable. I checked out. I was like,
Yeah.
whatever happens, Shang-Chi's probably gonna win,
Yeah.
and we'll set up a sequel.
Yeah.
Or how he's gonna be influential in Marvel's future. And
Whatever happens,
I
happens.
was like, whatever happens, happens. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. The other big disappointment I had was that character, the masked character. Like, I was okay with that not being somebody. Like, I think I think you and I agree. Like, that was a big issue with Black Widow when they try to make Taskmaster connected to people somehow. In this one, I was like fine with it not being anybody, but the way that they off that character, just
I don't even remember, to be honest with you.
soul sucked. It was. Oh, I remember. How could I forget such a wonderful movie? They pretty much took from Final Fantasy Spirits Within, where the monster comes and it just takes your soul
where
out.
they like grab the soul out.
It takes your soul out of you. Yeah. That's what they did. And that's how I'm like, that's how you, this dude had the best fight scene in the movie. And that's how you offed him.
Yeah.
Or her.
And I was also very confused by the Abomination versus Wong fight.
Why'd you even need it?
Number one, why it was there. And number two, were they kind of like working together?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't really, and where did they go? They went back to like the library, but like, what I didn't understand what that had to do with anything.
It's so Disney-fied. They just everybody has to be friends. You got to be cool. You got to come on. Yeah. I don't know. I really wanted to love that movie. I
did too. I was really hoping for, because they kind of did market, and I think you did say this as well. It was kind of felt like Black Panther.
Yeah.
Or like they were trying to redo that.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it was because of the circumstances that they had to go more CG on certain elements, because of the way it was filmed, or what they just story was too big for what they were trying to do. It just felt like a mess. I was a lot more disappointed in it than I thought I was going to be.
Yeah. And you know, rolling into Hawkeye, we'll do a round of either before, but I wanted it to be like that tie-in to the Defenders. Like I wanted it somehow to, you know, Luke Cage shows up, Daredevil shows, or at least, you know, they're alluded to that they exist, or something along those lines. Because that's what he is.
Iron Fist and Shang-Chi have kind of a back and forth.
They do.
If I remember correctly,
100%. But, you know, I maybe contractually that's why they didn't put that in here. But, you know, taking it to that next level and you know, dude's immortal now. Like, I was like, why did you didn't need any of that. And I think that was really the main thing was like, first, you know, you have this organization again that's in the shadows again, you know, changing history again, and dude's immortal somehow and missed everything that's happened in Marvel so far. Evaded, didn't see any of it. Hydra doesn't even know this dude exists. Like, just gone. So
I don't even know what they're thinking. Like I think they've kind of put themselves in a corner where we expect it to be connected, but when they don't connect anything, especially something as overpowered or big as like Eternals or even Shang-Chi, like it just doesn't make sense why something as big as Endgame has almost no consequence to what's happening here. Like they're like, yeah, we're still doing origin stories. Everything's great. Like I feel like they almost went too big too early. Yeah. And the reason I say that, and I was thinking about this earlier, is that we haven't even gotten to like the good stuff yet.
Right.
With like some like involving X-Men, Fantastic Four, most of the Fox characters that were very much present in Civil War, in all of these stories. So you're kind of missing a large piece of that puzzle despite everything being so big already. It's I don't know how they're supposed to follow it up or where they're going to go. Obviously something with the multiverse, but I don't know if it can be followed up at this point.
Yeah. And it's too big, you know, like Endgame, you know, world changing. And then now you roll into Spider-Man and Doctor Strange adventures. and the world is exploding again. And I don't know. Like you said, I think it's too far in. I think in a certain way it's too far in, and we just need, shameless plug, we need that ground level hero show where it's just fist to face, and people bleed, and they get hurt, and you're like, oh man, they're actually in danger.
I know of one that's going on right now.
I think I know of one too. But before we roll into that, in the final round, I think maybe it'll be one more, but for now, we'll say maybe final round of either. We're going Back to the Future on this one.
All right.
Would you rather meet your future self or meet your future kids? And you already have a kid, so you could say just your kid in general.
I feel like there's the time travel rule with Blue that you can't meet your future self.
Right.
Otherwise, like, giant world-ending things happen. So I would just instinctually go with Red. Because, I mean, I guess you can kind of get how you're seen through other people's eyes at that point. And maybe be like, oh, my dad's an asshole. Be like, oh, I got to fix this quick. Otherwise, my kid's going to think I'm an asshole.
Yeah.
And plus, kids have depending on the age of the kid, they have no filter. Like, if they think you're basically a piece of shit, they're going to tell exactly all the bad things that you did. So I feel like Red makes the most sense for me. Blue seems like I've seen too many movies that have that rule.
Yeah.
I don't think I can do that to myself.
So I talked about it on the Rambling episode, but so we've been watching Nora from Queens with Aquafina from Shang-Chi. And there's a time travel episode, and she's like, oh my God, I almost loopered myself, because she goes to see her past self, actually. And I think, meeting yourself can cause a lot of issues. But I don't know. I feel like with Red, you're almost to your point there, you're subject to somebody else's interpretation of what's happening. True. And that could throw you off. That could completely throw you off. They're like, oh, he's such a failure. He's such a piece of shit, blah, 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 blah. And it turns out you're like making millions of dollars, and they're mad that you canceled 1 out of their 10 Amex cards,
That's true. I didn't really think about that aspect.
Yeah. So heading over real quick, Sal wants to meet his daughter, so he's going Red. Anthony,
can I get punched by my future self?
Yeah. You will have some issues with the issues we will have. Yeah. Or he will have. Yeah.
I mean, I would imagine that even if you did meet your future self, you would very much have issue with yourself, depending on where you are in life. I mean, I feel like I wasn't this person 10 years ago. So even that span of time, you're going to have those differences. So I think I would have to stick with Red for myself, but it's a good thought. I like that.
It's funny. The stock tips is always, and they actually talk about that on the episode of Nora from Queens, but
Sports Almanac.
Exactly. A sports almanac. I think it was like last week at some point, I was like, now Facebook tells you like Facebook memory, and you can scroll through the different years of things you said like on that day. Yeah. And there are things like 5 years ago that I was like, what were you? That's not even English. It's not even a complete sentence. What are you talking about? What are you doing? So yeah, I think, potentially meeting future self could be a disappointment. Like I'd be disappointed in myself. Yeah. Like my old self.
Don't meet your heroes and don't meet your future self.
Exactly. So I might have to go with Red on that one, and maybe get the stock tips from my kids. Hopefully,
I do want to point out just very quickly. This is a shameless plug for your toy hunting, because I mentioned the Sports Almanac. Every time you're in the collectible section and I see the Sports Almanac for some reason, I don't know if it's because it's a red box.
It is.
Like I always see it. Like there's the Sports Almanac one.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just because it is it's just more eye-catching to a bunch of black boxes for either Terminator or It or whatever else you're looking at. I always catch the Sports Almanac bugs.
Yeah. I know I saw it up there with like,
and I don't even know what's in it because I don't. I think I just saw it. If you
it's Biff. Yeah, it's the Biff figure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that always catches my eye whenever you're in the toy aisle.
Yeah.
Always catches me.
You know, it's wild too with these Back to the Future figures because they're actually really good figures. But I think the fan base isn't like, you know, somebody like Joel, for example, like huge, or yourself, huge Back to the Future fans, but you guys aren't like toy hunters. You're not like in it like that. So like,
Yeah.
you're not up scooping these figures at $30 a pop, like the rest of us are for, you know, a Power Ranger figure or a Ninja Turtle figure or something like that.
There are some that I would say, even in the ones that you've purchased, that I would say, okay, I could see myself wanting that figure, but I'm not necessarily out hunting for it.
Right.
Or like if I saw it and wanted it, okay, cool, but I'm not gonna need the entire collection.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of back and forth on certain things. Like if I were to get, for just pure example, I have Funko Pops. I know you're not a Funko Pop collector, but I'm not a collector by any means either. But like I only have the red Power Ranger one. I don't need
Yeah.
all 6 plus Rita plus
Yeah.
Alpha 5 plus whatever else is out there, Goldar. The only one that I would want, I think, outside of the red one is the bigger Megazord one. But
Oh, yeah.
I'm not like actively hunting for I need the set.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So
You're,
although
and
I was tempted by like the communicators and like the morpher with the power coins.
yeah.
Those were the only ones I was like, okay, I might get that one. Maybe.
Yeah. I had the morphers on display. And that it's a, you know, I'll go back to the other screen real quick. But it's the wormhole you go down. Like you get the one thing, like the Zeo staff, and then you're like, but that the dragon dagger is pretty cool, you know, and then it goes. And then it just goes.
Very dangerous.
You know what? Actually, just to seal that one, I would probably meet my future self and say, stop buying these damn figures. You can, like, or did I ever stop? Did it just keep going? Did it never end?
Are people still looking for Pokemon cards?
Who would have thought? Who would have thought
Not me.
That
Not
it would come
me.
back the way it did?
I thought it wouldn't. I don't even know where mine are and or were if I got rid of them. I remember having a binder of them, but
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you where they are.
It's
if
wild.
I still have them.
It's wild. I mean, Pat Flynn, you know, as you know, like just killing it now in Pokemon cards. I'm like, what? Like Pokemon is a thing. Once again, somehow.
Somehow, some way.
But let's talk about the man of the hour. Well, one Clint
Do it.
Burton. I always get
Barton.
that. Barton. There you go. I always think of Cliff Burton from Metallica. That's where I always get screwed up. R.I.P. Cliff Burton.
Just a little bit different from each other.
But Hawkeye.
Hawkeye.
I already know, or I have a feeling as to how Joel feels because he's kind of alluded to things in chats before. But what are your thoughts so far on Hawkeye?
I enjoy it. It's probably the best time I've had watching a Marvel series yet. Even above, I would say Falcon and Winter Soldier, which was my favorite. WandaVision was a little bit weird, trying to figure out what was going on, but I liked the mystery of it. Falcon and Winter Soldier I liked a lot, but I feel like it took a while to kind of build to what we were trying to achieve. And then Loki was kind of hit or miss for me. I liked aspects of it, but it also didn't go the direction that I thought it was going to go. But this one I'm having the most fun with. It kind of gives me that Netflix Daredevil. It's not exactly, don't get me wrong, but it kind of gives me that style. I'm enjoying the characters. It is a smaller story. It's very ground level. It's not trying to go too big like a Shang-Chi. It still has some graphic elements to it. In the third episode, which was super cool, I thought. But I know we're not supposed to talk about episode 3.
No. So you can. I mean, here's what I would suggest. You know, for everybody in the audience, in case you haven't seen it, we'll talk about like pretty simple things, right? Like he shoots. I think you were going to talk about it. He shoots the arrow it's got Pym particles in it, and grows large. So like that's not like a spoiler. Like it's only 3 episodes in on that, but maybe it's tough because I know what you want to talk about because I want to talk about it, but nothing's been confirmed or shown. So it's like, is it really a spoiler if it hasn't even happened? But I don't know. I guess we kind of got to talk about it.
I mean, we can continue to dance around it.
Okay.
I feel like if you've been anywhere on any, I hate to say entertainment site, but like relating to something, I feel like there's been a lot of Hawkeye things lately.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just my own personal, because I've been searching Hawkeye. My internet knows that these are the things that I want to look at.
I think that's what it is. I think it's more. I think it's more algorithm.
Yeah, it's all algorithm based. It's not actually news.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's been a little more prevalent, for at least from what I've seen. But we don't have to talk about it if you don't want to. I did think one thing about it is absolutely outlandish, and I don't remember if I talked about it on the live stream yesterday, or if I talked about it in one of the videos talking about who owns the Avengers Tower now on Nergenic. I think I said it one or the other. I'm not sure.
You made a video about the
news.
5. You made a video about the 5 like choices you think for who owns Avengers Tower at this point.
Yeah.
So again, in case you've not seen it, they don't mention this on the show. So literally everything we're talking about, that
all rumors,
all rumor,
speculation, prediction,
guesses, just guesses.
Insert synonym. I don't have a thesaurus in front of me.
Yeah, I don't either. But I talk about it a couple times whenever Star Wars comes up, where I'm a big fan of the non-main character, what the events are doing for that person, right? Like Rogue One, I think is one of the better Star Wars movies because none of them have powers. They're just people, and you see like their reaction to people around them dying around the greater story, where the main characters don't die. The main characters go on, sequel trilogy, I guess. And
I think Rogue One actually has some of the best visuals also.
Yes.
With the whole thing with the, I don't even know what to call it, the island planet, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't even know the name of it.
Yeah.
Everything around that was absolutely phenomenal. Like I have no complaints. I feel like it's the best looking Star Wars.
Yes.
Of all the Star Wars.
Yeah. I can agree. Actually, I don't debate that part, actually. I never thought about that, but I don't debate that. Yeah, so with Hawkeye, you're seeing even just the opening scene, like he's this, I'm not going to say it's a spoiler because it happens in the first like 2 minutes of the episode, but they acknowledge that he's actually like hard of hearing now because again, he's a human in this world of Avengers, explosions popping off, buildings falling down on him, like all sorts of things are happening. And he's like lost his hearing. Like,
well, I mean, how could you not? The guy was part of like the main blast in Endgame. Like he ended up under like serious rubble.
Yeah.
Taking that blast, and he's just a normal guy. He's not Captain America. He's not protected by armor. He's just a guy.
Yeah, and seeing that, it makes them more human. And I think that's the key. That is, I think that's always the secret sauce to anything. Like, today on Instagram, I always play a video to like highlight HeyArcher Live. I chose one today for a certain reason. And again, that's not been announced, but it was a guess. But before that, I almost chose, and I already cut the video down, Endgame on your left. Captain America gets up, the radio call comes in, whatever. Because I just think it's a great sequence, and we both love Endgame. But Captain America standing up, the shield's broken, bloody. He does that belt tie on his arm, and he's all like ready to go. Like, you're like, yeah, dude, like you could do it. Like, that's every show. And I'm like, going all the way back to Black Widow, she didn't have any moment where she was hurt. Like, it was, she was Superman in like that movie versus anybody else. And Hawkeye, I think, brings us back to that, like that these are people, they do get hurt. There's no shield or armor on the dude.
Yeah, and he's been beaten up several times, both him and Kate.
Yeah.
They've both had injuries. I mean, even something as small as, I think it was episode 2,
Mhm.
where they go back to like Kate's aunt's house or apartment. And he basically, or even like when they're getting supplies to basically bandage themselves up,
Right.
something as small as that actually adds a lot more to the
It does.
show
Yeah.
than just being like, okay, let's just regroup and, maybe we'll have an already bandaged something on our head because we already did that. You don't need to see that. But
Yeah.
it's actually a little bit more, is humanizing the best word?
Yeah. Yeah. It humanizes them.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like it makes them feel more realistic, even if it's something crazy, like in like the latest episode where like the trick arrows and various things like that. Like you're like, okay, maybe that's a little bit much, or like the way they keep doing like the slow mo, the brrr thing, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they did it like twice in the last episode, which was
Yeah.
kind of funny.
Yeah.
But with that, like it's like okay, at least it serves a purpose. Like he's focusing in this moment of like action, and you can kind of think if you're have your adrenaline going, you might feel like that slow down
Mm.
and like things like that. I can understand that,
Yeah.
but if it goes too big, like Black Widow, it's just too much. And this show feels like it's taking its time, which I like a lot. It doesn't feel like okay, we've already got the time on the clock. Technically, there's time on the clock because he has to get back home for Christmas,
Right.
but it's not like this ticking time bomb where we got to go right now. It's actually building something. We're finding out who the villain is.
Mm.
Even though it takes place in New York, which I think a lot of superhero stories should, like they already do in the comics. I feel like that adds a little bit more to the story.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the Christmas element maybe adds a little bit also. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like it's just a little bit of everything that makes it feel like an actual show that it is an actual show that I'm enjoying
Right.
because it's taking its time. It's not trying to rush us into this massive story because it only has 2 hours to fill. I think it's 6 episodes. So we're looking at about 6 hours probably.
Yeah.
5 and change.
Yeah.
But in that time, I'm getting so much more than just being like Black Widow. She was on the run because of the whole thing that happened with Captain America, and now she's got to go find this thing. And by the way, there's a superhuman person who can super fight, and there's a bomb, and she gets blown off of a bridge. Like they're not doing that. Like it took until 3 episodes for them to jump off of a bridge, but it had
Yeah.
a reason
Yeah.
because they were stuck in New York traffic,
Yeah.
which makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just works so much better. It flows so much better. And I have nothing but good things to say about Hawkeye.
Yeah. Um,
I'm enjoying it.
I do want to disown Joel because he said this to me in person and he had the nerve to type it here that he thought Black Widow was a good movie. And I don't understand it. But you know what?
If it was anything other than Black Widow, I think it would be. Like if it was, even if it wasn't a Marvel movie,
Mm.
if it was, even if you said, okay, this is Mission Impossible, whatever. Is it 7? That's the next one? No.
8?
7 or 8, I think. I just started, by the way, I just watched
7, I think.
Ghost Protocol last night, and I felt like that was more in line of a Marvel movie that I would enjoy, which also has Jeremy Renner in it. I forgot.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Like that actually feels legit. Like I feel like that movie kind of helped him get into Hawkeye
Mm.
because there's like this like gunfight type of thing that happens with Ethan Hunt that feels very reminiscent of Hawkeye, and just maybe even some like quippy things. It just feels like it works well for some reason. Like I can go back and think, okay, this is why this guy is Hawkeye.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. But it felt like a Mission Impossible, worse than Mission Impossible, Fast and Furious. It felt like a Fast and Furious movie that it just is throwing everything at the wall just because you're like, okay, I've seen a car do car things. What else can you make? What else can you do to impress me?
Yeah.
And that's all they're trying to do. I don't care. Black Widow is just no.
All right. So actually, real quick then, because an article came out, he sent it to me, where she's coming back for another movie, but allegedly not as Black Widow. Did you hear about that?
Yes, I heard she was doing a Marvel project, but I didn't know what it was. I didn't read it. I did
Any
see speculation? She was coming back from Marvel.
You get the guess?
Do we already know, or is it's just rumor?
No.
Okay. Who would she come back to do? She's
My
gonna force Ghost. Black Widow.
yeah.
Um,
So
um,
my theory was is that they would tie into What If, right? She's in the
mhm,
regular universe again, but because Black Widow, I guess, wasn't. I guess she was Black. Maybe she just isn't called Black Widow anymore. Like
mhm,
maybe she's like, no, you know what? Call me this name now. I'm not
mhm,
Natasha. Like maybe that's like their loophole
mhm.
to get her back in.
I don't know. I don't know what could be. I mean, and they said it's. Did they ever? I mean, it's all speculation at this point. They never said it's like flashback stuff or anything like that.
No.
Dream sequence or. I feel like that's the only thing that they can do that would be unless it is a voice thing like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the only thing that they can do. Even if they went as far as to do like what they did with her for the movie Her with Joaquin Phoenix, where she was just a voice. Like it was
Yeah.
a live action movie, but she was just a voice.
Yeah.
Even if they like kind of like what they did with Paul Bettany for Jarvis before he became Vision,
Right.
um, just a voice. That's it. Um, maybe he's one of maybe she could be one of Tony's AI voices.
Mm.
Because I think who does Peter have right now? Is it Friday? They did Friday. No, there was one that they didn't do. One like Tony had the little chips with the
Mm.
different names on them. There was one that they didn't do that was very popular in the comics. I want to say it was Friday, but I could be wrong because I think Peter has Friday right now. Or no, wait, he calls it something else.
He has Karen.
Karen is what he calls it. But there is a Friday one or something like that I think would make sense to be like, okay, maybe he emulated it off of Natasha, which he's known since Iron Man 2, and just kind of works that way.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that happening.
Yeah. We'll
Just
see.
an idea.
We shall see. I mean, I think just, if anybody here has not watched Hawkeye, take it
Do
from
so,
us.
please. Yes.
Yeah. And as you said, 6 episodes potentially. There's only 3 out.
Yeah.
You got
We
nothing
got
to
3
lose.
to go. Halfway in.
Got nothing to lose.
Good stuff.
The one thing I disagreed on is I did enjoy WandaVision more,
Okay.
only on the week to week thing. I thought the payoff was not great, but I was thoroughly like,
Yeah.
who is pulling the strings here? Like it had
And
me on that.
I think there was a lot of that hype. Was it that early that they had the whole Mephisto thing? Like
People thought
as soon
Mephisto.
as like that first 1 or 2
Hmm.
episode things, and then
Hmm.
like later with Quicksilver. Again, you like you said, it didn't really have that payoff, which
Right.
kind of sucked. But and I think I've said it here on the show before. I didn't even watch WandaVision until the Quicksilver episode because I
Mm.
didn't want it to be spoiled for me who it was. I was planning on waiting. I
Yeah.
had no desire to watch it. I knew it was going to be good. I knew there was talk about it, and I saw stuff week to week. But it wasn't until the Quicksilver episode that I was like, okay, I really got to catch up on this. Otherwise, I'm just going to be in no man's land by myself. So I literally watched up to that point and then was on that week to week. So it felt a lot shorter for me than probably other people.
Mm.
But I like this smaller run. I think Falcon and Winter Soldier was 10 episodes. It probably could have been trimmed
Yeah.
if I'm thinking
For
about it.
sure.
So
For sure.
I don't mind this 6 episode arc. Like 3 episodes in, and I'm still enjoying the ride. I haven't had what I would consider to be a downer episode yet.
Right.
It's fine by me.
Yeah. For sure. For sure. And to Joel's point, the only thing we'll agree on with him today, hoping he finishes strong.
Oh, you know what I did think?
Yeah.
Black Widow wasn't even Fast and the Furious. It was G.I. Joe. And I believe I did say that
G.I.
in
Joe
my videos.
Retaliation.
It was G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra or Retaliation. Take your pick.
Yeah.
Both are absolutely outlandish whack movies. But, which by the way, I do like Rise of Cobra. I will stand by Rise of Cobra. Retaliation, I will not. I try to watch it and it's just horrible. It's so bad. Even with The Rock couldn't save it.
Well, I can't save anything. I'm over that dude. I am so over
I,
that guy.
I'm over it also. Like
Yeah.
I can't stand any more of his movies. I try. I'll watch them, but I'm not going to be enthusiastic to go and see any of them. But it was 100% a GI Joe movie. From the suits to the action to everything. It was pure G.I. Joe.
Is it not wild that that movie with him, Gal Gadot, and Ryan Reynolds, the most watched Netflix movie of all time?
I feel like that's Netflix boasting itself.
They have to.
Like,
They have to. I can't imagine.
It's good. I think it's good because it is very much like an Indiana Jones plus like another heist movie type of amalgamation. Like kind of like with Shang-Chi, it just takes some of the best parts and puts them all together. It's a fun adventure. It's kind of dumb for the most part. But Netflix is totally just putting that as a headline. I don't think there's any weight to that whatsoever. Even with the star power of all three put together,
No way.
Netflix doesn't release their numbers.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, oh yeah, it's our biggest. They're trumping it is what they are.
Yeah.
This is the biggest show. This is the biggest movie of all time.
Yeah.
So many people. We have so many subscribers from this one thing.
Yeah.
Come on. Like anybody could say that.
I know so many randos that saw at least one episode of Squid Games. There's no way more people watched that movie than Squid Games.
Yeah. I have no belief in that whatsoever. Squid Game is probably still 10 times more watched. People are trying. There was a guy who got arrested and like put on a death sentence for trying to smuggle Squid Game into Korea on like SD cards. Like, and you're going to tell me Red Notice is the biggest thing?
Yeah.
Off of the no.
Yeah.
I don't believe it for a second.
No way. Sir, pleasure as always.
Yes, thank you.
As a reminder for everybody, of course, drop a thumbs up down below. Subscribe if you've not done so. Do the same for Aaron Waller. But Aaron, this is your time. Plug your shit.
Thank you. Appreciate it. So I'm Aaron Waller. I have my own channel, Aaron Waller YT, or just Aaron Waller. I think if you search it, I'm like one of two. The one that has the more videos, that's me. Has my face on it. But I do videos now semi-regularly. I was doing them before, but kind of taking a break. But if you want more content and like regular stuff from me, go to the Nerdgenic channel, which I have videos all the time, including my weekly live streams of Hawkeye live watch parties at 9 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday nights. Episode comes out that morning, but I know you're busy, so just come hang out with me at night and we'll just watch it together. But I do want to leave the audience with these two little nuggets. I've watched two real turds of movies the past like 3 days. So if you want to avoid two things, do not watch Venom, Let There Be Carnage, and do not watch Resident Evil, Welcome to Raccoon City. Don't watch either of those. They're both horrible and bad. They're not worth your time on either.
If Lenny somehow watches this, he's gonna be very sad because he kind of predicted it, and that's unfortunate.
I was actually excited for it because they had the whole like Claire and all the greatest hits, but it was the how that movie didn't come out in January or February, I don't know, but it was bad.
Wow. I mean, I don't know how else to end that. Oh, you know what? Actually, I have an idea.
Sorry for the downer.
No. So you know what? I want you to come back for another stream because Anthony and Sal gave me a weird reaction to me not liking Batman Begins, and I think you like Batman Begins. So
I like Batman Begins.
We might have to. We'll end on a good note that we're all gonna do a watch party of Batman Begins, and maybe that might be my third time watching it because one was in theaters, one was at home.
Now you'll be forced to watch it because we're watch partying.
Yeah,
and you're literally being forced. Not like with Man of Steel where you can turn it off and get up and leave.
Yeah, which I did. I did that. I did both.
Know Your Craft. Venom was watchable. The first one, semi-watchable, I will agree, but the second one is not.
Yeah. No way.
Avoid
People
it.
only go on YouTube, type in Venom 2 end credit scene, and that's all you need to know.
That's all it's worth.
That's all it's worth.
Yeah.
Either way, we'll talk to all you nerds in the next video. Peace.
I dance.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Gotta Scooby dance it out.
If Scooby's here. Oh, she is. Okay.
She's here. Yeah.
All right.
Just for you, Scooby. See you guys later. And I gotta turn our faces off. There they go at the bottom.
More specifically, vodka.